Hey guys, it's Bailey and it's time for a tutorial. This is going to be a 2-in-1 using Too Faced brand new semi-sweet chocolate bar palette, so if you want to see how I get the looks, let's get into it. First, I'm starting with the smokier look and I'm using Cryolyn's eye primer and applying that just with my ring finger all over the moving part of my lid up to beneath my brow bone. Next, starting off with the shadows, I'm going to start with this beautiful shimmery light yellow gold in the shade Caramel. I'm applying that using a flat shader brush to my inner corner. Next, I'm going into the shade Blueberry Swirl, a color that I think a lot of people were curious about in this palette. It doesn't quite come off as bold as it looks in the pan, but with a little bit of layering, you definitely get some added pigmentation. It's more of a smoky, iridescent turquoise. Onto the crease, this is the cooler matte brown in the shade Mousse, and I'm applying that using a fluffy blending brush to my crease, naturally, to blend all those shades out. Moving on to the outer corner, this is Hot Fudge. It's a beautiful, deep, shimmery chocolate brown, and I'm applying that with that same flat shader to my outer corner, and then once again using that blending brush to blend it all out. Moving on to the brow bone, this is a matte cream color in the shade Coconut Cream. I'm then moving on to liner in the shade Licorice, which is a matte black. Using a liner, an angled liner brush, I'm just lining my upper lash line. And then because I flubbed a little bit and I really want a super sharp line, I'm using the corrector from the Tyra Liner and Corrector and using that to just clean it up really nicely so I get a nice clean edge on that wing. Then moving right along to mascara, this is Givenchy's Noir Couture Volume in the shade Black Taffeta. I'm just giving my lashes a few good coats, both on the top and the bottom. This, I feel, makes my lashes look like I'm wearing falsies. I absolutely love it because it is much less hassle. And then I move right along to foundation. This is Maybelline's new Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation, and I'm using a flat kabuki brush to apply that, really buff and blend that in all over my face. And then on to frame the face, these are the brows. This is It Cosmetics Build-A-Brow in the shade Universal Taupe. I have a review on this that I will link to in the info bar below if you want to check it out. And I'm using the brush that comes in this set that's currently available on QVC to apply my brows. This is concealer, and it's one that I forgot to take a still of, but it's a new one from Maybelline. It's their Master Concealer by Face Studio. It says it's camouflaging concealer in the shade Fair. I'm just patting that in my under eye area. Then on to contouring. This is another new set from Smashbox. It's a step-by-step contour stick trio. I'm only using 2 out of the 3 in this set, and to contour, I'm using the contour stick. I apply that where I would typically apply contour, directly to my skin using the pencil, and then I go in with a fluffy angled brush from It Cosmetics to buff all of that in. I find this is the best kind of brush to do this with because it's nice and dense, and luckily the cream is soft enough to where it blends super easily into my skin and any product I already have laid down. And then this is the highlight from that same trio, and I'm using that to apply to the tops of my cheekbones, the bridge of my nose, up into the center of my forehead, generally anywhere you typically want to highlight. And then I go in with that same brush and I blend it all in once more. And on to blush. I'm using the same brush as before, using the It Cosmetics CC Plus Radiance Ombre Blush in the shade Je ne sais quoi, and applying that where I would normally apply blush, starting at the apples of my cheeks and working my way back. And last, to complete the look, we are at the lips. This is LORAC's Lustre Cream in the shade Empress, which is a pinky mauve, and I'm just applying that directly on my lips for a nice, soft hint of color. And that is everything you need to create the first look. Now moving on to the second, which is a little more natural, less smoky and sultry. I'm first going in with Caramel. This is a shade that I used in the first look, but I am instead applying it all over the moving part of my lid as well as along my lower lash line using a flat shader brush. Next is the inner corner highlight. This is the shimmery counterpart to the matte cream shade that I applied in the first look. It's called Butter Pecan, and I'm applying that using the flat shader brush as in the first look. Next up is the crease work. This is the warmer of the 2 matte shades, the shade Peanut Butter, and I'm using a fluffy blending brush to blend that throughout the crease and really soften that lid shade. Onto the outer corner, this is Cocoa Chili, which is this deep chocolatey brown with some serious gold flecks. But you can see when I'm applying it, it's not super overwhelming for those who are kind of shimmer phobic. And I'm applying that using the narrow edge of that flat shader brush to really deepen that outer corner. And then to add some extra drama, I'm going in with this deep matte chocolate brown in the shade Truffled, applying that once more and blending it out with that fluffy shader. Using the same mascara as before, I'm applying a few coats to the upper and lower lashes, and then it is onto the face. By the way, I use the same foundation and concealer as before. This palette is from IT Cosmetics. It's the CC Plus Radiance palette. I'm using both the bronzer and the blush. First up, as you can see here, is the bronzer. I'm using that to bronze up the perimeter of my face, and then I go in with the blush and apply that just as I did in the first look, starting from the apples of my cheeks and working my way back. And last, once again, are the lips. This is a shade that a lot of you asked about in the review video for this palette. It's a new product from L'Oreal. It's the Infallible Pro Matte Gloss, and this is in the shade Blushing Ambition. I'm applying that all over my lips, and then I actually went over top because as pretty as this matte finish is, I wanted to have a little bit of a glossier finish, so this is yet another new product from Covergirl. It is their Lip Lava, and this is in the shade Lava Glow. It looks very golden taupe in the container, but as you can see when I applied it, it just provides a really nice shimmery golden overcoat. And that is all you need to create these two looks using the new Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar palette. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!